डिक्टेशन 100 शब्द प्रति मिनट स्टार्ट होगा 5 सेकंड बाद। स्टार्ट। April's 69-month low retail inflation and 13-month low wholesale inflation should come as a relief to the public and policy makers alike. For the public, it shows that the easing of prices in the first few months of the years is continuing. For policymakers, it goes a step further in confirming that last year's alarming levels of inflation are well and truly under control, and that the Reserve Bank of India (RBI) was right to cut interest rates twice in a row. The fall in retail inflation was driven by a contraction of nearby 11% in vegetables prices and 5.2% in the price of pulses. However, it is important to note that alaf vegetable prices are lower than last year's. This contraction is mainly due to a very high base. Vegetables inflation was in the 27% to 30% range in the February-April period of last year. Inflation at the wholesale level too was driven down by easing vegetable prices, which contracted 18.26% in April. This too was on a relatively high base of nearly 12% last April. The base effect aside, it does look like the government's efforts to bolster buffers stocks of essential food items, conduct open market release, and easy imports during supply shortage have helped in easing inflation. The other less positive factor could have been the liquidity crunch that banks were facing in the first few months of the year. Lower liquidity results in lower amounts left to lend, which squeezes is money with companies and the public, and those can lower inflation and things stand even tough. Retail inflation has been decreasing for 6 consecutive months. Its trajectory for the rest of the year will significantly be determined by the monsoons and its vagaries. Similarly, the outgoing tariff insurently and threats of retaliations by India will also play a part. The last inflation data does have some policy in publications. The first and most obvious one is that it will likely encourage the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee the cut interest rates again in June. However, in important considerations for it will also be how the last GDP growth data to be released this month and will look. The other more immediate step for public sector oil marketing companies companies is to finally cut fuel prices in line with crude oil inflation in the WPI coming in at 22 months low. If not, then the government should effectively abandon its dynamic pricing policy where prices are supposedly revised daily. That fuel prices have been virtually unchanged in the 3 years, despite oil prices falling 42% over the period means the policy is a same in any case. Until 6 months ago, Abu Muhammad al Jolani was especially designated global terrorist with a $10 million bounty fixed on his head by the US government. A native of Syria's Golan Heights and a former member of Al Qaeda in Iraq, one of the group's most brutal branches, Jolani founded Jabhat al Nusra, the Al Qaeda is Syria affiliated in 2012 during the early stage of the civil war. 13 years later, on May 14, Jolani, now known as Ahmad al-Sara, met with US President Donald Trump in Riyadh. Mr. Trump, who earlier in the week lifted America's decades-long sanctions on Syria, praised Mr. Sarah, saying he was a true guy, strong past fighter. The meeting was a diplomatic victory for Mr. Sarah, who Islamist hired Tahrir al-Sham HTS captured Damascus in December 2024 by toppling the secular dictatorship of President Bashar al-Assad. Mr. Sara met Qatar and Amir in Doha in April, seeking support for his fleeing Islamist regime. He enjoys the strong backing of Turkey. He was welcomed by French President Emmanuel Macron earlier this month at the Elysee Palace in Paris, and in Riyadh, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman played a key role in facilitating facilitating his meeting with Mr. Trump. With regional and international recognition, Ahmad al-Sara appears poised to shape Syria's present and future. Stop.